After the break, we'll talk to David Halperin about exactly what is the strategy that Mitt Romney is employing and what's the best way to push back against that. Unless the rice you buy is certified organic or comes specifically from a farm that tests its rice crops for genetically modified traits, you could be eating rice, this is very weird, tainted with human genes. Human genes are now being engineered into experimental GMO rice being grown in Kansas, naturalnews.com is reporting. This is from a company called Ventria. Have you heard of them? Or is it Ventria?
I've not heard of them, either one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Ventria Bioscience is currently growing 3,200 acres of rice in Junction City, Kansas, and possibly elsewhere. Most people have no idea about this. They've been quietly cultivating this rice, which has been genetically modified with genes from the human liver, for the purpose of taking the artificial proteins produced by Frankenrice and using them as what, Lewis? Pharmaceuticals. And this has approval from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and they've taken one of the most widely cultivated grain crops in the world today and basically turned it into a catalyst for producing new drugs. Would you want to eat human liver gene rice?
I would not. No.
What would be worse for you? Eating pink slime, eating meat glue, eating tuna scrape, which we're going to talk about on the bonus show today, or eating human rice?
I think I would go with meat glue.
Really?
Meat glue seems to be...
At least it comes from a natural,
somewhat natural,
the blood of...
least harmful ingredient.
Yeah. I would go probably meat glue, tuna scrape, and I think I have a tie for third and fourth with human rice and the pink slime, because the pink slime has the ammonia in it. I don't know. I think that's my ranking.
It's rough. It's very, very tough call. I'm not even going to go down the whole list.
This was originally limited to a laboratory setting, but in 2007, Ventria decided to bring the rice outdoors, and the company tried to plant this in Missouri, but it met resistance from Anheuser-Busch and others, which threatened to boycott all rice from the state if they began doing this within Missouri. So it eventually ended up in Kansas, and let's be honest, we know that this could be a serious problem for farmers in the area because, well, actually, not only the farmers, people are concerned that they're going to unknowingly eat this human rice. And Monsanto is currently suing tons of farmers for crops that they were growing that simply blew into an adjacent farmland area, sprouted, unbeknownst to the farmer. Okay, farmers are getting sued for that. If that can just blow over and start growing, I think, Natan, it's not much of a stretch to say that the same thing could happen with the human rice crop.
Absolutely. And in terms of the health effects, I would definitely not want to have this on the market from the FDA perspective unless there were studies from a third party totally outside of, without any ties to this company, saying that it's safe for human consumption.
Well, we already have studies indicating that's not the case. The Center for Food Safety published a report in 2007 about the dangers of this specific Ventria rice, and it could actually cause more disease. It could exacerbate certain infections. It could cause dangerous allergic or immune system reactions. This is according to Bill Friesen, the science policy analyst. This is a double whammy for vegetarians, isn't it? It's not just animal protein lurking in your rice. It's human protein. They must be loving it.
Yeah. So now is the company just harvesting this rice to extract the proteins and use them for pharmaceuticals and then discarding what's left? I mean,
my understanding is that that's what's on the record, that this is just for research to develop pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. So, I mean, how opposed to you opposed to this are you, rather?
So if we take away the possibility of what would happen if it's...
Yeah, let's just say this, I mean, regardless of what happens when the wind blows and in the immediate area of where this is being grown.
Right.
Are you opposed to this?
Am I opposed to this? If there's, I would be fine with it happening in the laboratory setting as it was, because who knows what actual...
I mean, you can't do 3,200 acres in a laboratory setting.
The question is, do you need that much?
Well, I mean, I would imagine it's a very small amount of whatever they're trying to extract from... They're getting it in very small amounts. You need the scale. You need this huge amount of space.
I'm up for figuring out ways where there is no risk to the food system from the experimentation here, and I'm all for researching possible cures to who knows what diseases. What do you think, Natan?
Yeah, I agree. It's just a question of safety. I mean, this is what this is about. If there's a way to do this in such a way that the research can be done and people won't eat this if it's very unhealthy, then let's do it.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see eventually if Lewis starts eating human rice. I hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't, although he doesn't seem too disturbed by it.
I'm not eating that stuff. Not intentionally, anyway.
Facebook.com/David Pakman Show. 1 day left on the David Pakman Show hoodie and membership special. DavidPakman.com/May1. Back after this.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.